Hey y'all, let's continue reading my book, Secret Lives of the First Ladies. Let's go! The eating machine. To look at her when she was a child, no one would have believed that Betty would grow to be a little dancer. She tended to run more than a little on the chubby side, condition at least partially filled by her habit of visiting local restaurants to ask for food from diners. The situation got bad enough that Betty's mother took to hanging a sign on her daughter's back door. Please do not feed this child. Oh my god. Okay. The truth is 60 minutes. I take a Valium every day, admitted Betty to the person price when she was second lady. Mrs. Fort's kinder soon became her homework. She later said, I don't believe being first lady should prevent me from expressing my ideas. And expressed it she did, for better or worse. In August of 1975, she agreed to an interview with 60 Minutes. The segment ended up becoming the most sensational example of Betty's openness. In it, she admitted that she may very well have tried marijuana if she were a member of the younger generation. That the Supreme Court's ruling on making abortion legal was a great decision, and that she wouldn't be surprised if her daughter were engaging in a sexual affair. Fallout from the interview was pretty severe. One New Hampshire newspaper called it a disgusting spectacle that disgraces the nation itself. But many Americans were impressed by Betty's forthrightness and her willingness to express herself freely as an individual who wasn't concerned with affecting her husband's career. For his part, Ford, who often disagreed with his wife's viewpoint, took pride in her independence even when it hurt. He believed that 60 Minutes instantly cost him 20 million votes. Though his reaction was hardly explosive. While watching the interview with Betty, he picked up a pillow and threw it at her. Aww, they have a loving relationship. He was like, oh honey. Just a little, just like this. Oh honey. Boom. Just like, like a little playful banter type thing. I wish I could have that love, but I have what I have and I'm not complaining. It's still good, but yeah. Flying the flag. Betty Ford's commitment to the Equal Rights Amendment was well known, but she never missed an opportunity to remind people of it. She even had a flag made to fly from her car that featured blue in honor of her maiden name. Red, white, and blue stars and letters ERA underneath the old revolutionary slogan, Don't Tread on Me. Breaker 19. President Ford's loss in the 1976 campaign hit Betty quite hard, not least because she had gone through such an extraordinary effort on his behalf herself. In Wisconsin, for instance, she spread her husband's message to workers and truckers on a CB radio. Her handle, First Mama. Nice! Love that handle. Making an ass of herself. While Betty Ford was first lady, one of her daily routines involved a ghost statue of a woman whose grasp once held a document that had been lost. Believing that the figure should have something to hold on to, she took the place of one of her cigarettes in the statue tank and insisted on surreptitiously replacing it whenever the servants had removed it. Oh, Betty. Love her. First dancer of the land. Though her arthritis and pitch never restricted some of the flexibility she enjoyed when she was younger, Betty Ford remained a lover of dance her entire life. Like me, I love to dance. Yeah. As first lady, she became famous for cutting the rug with everyone from Tony Orlando and comedian Marty Allen to Art Buchwald as the president of Finland. In the East Wing of the White House, she once placed a photo of herself dancing with Cary Grant. It was like, eat your heart out, gals. Aww. She danced with Cary Grant. Wow. He was a very famous dancer way back when. To dance with him was like you're dancing with royalty. It was awesome. It would have been awesome. In the bedroom, the first presidential couple sent the Coolidges to share a single bedroom in which they both slept every night. Though other couples often slept together in the White House, they usually maintained two bedrooms for appearances. Though Betty received quite a bit of mail cascading her and Jerry for what many considered inappropriate sleeping arrangements, the First Lady was unfazed. And as blunt as ever, I guess if you're president, you're supposed to be a unit. You're supposed to be a unit. Yeah, I guess so, huh? Oh well. Chapter 35. Rosalind Carter. August 18, 1927 through. She was still alive in 2005, too. Married July 7th, 1946. Woo! If she was still alive today, her, why can't I think of it? I heard it all before. Not one announcement, no. Her wedding, whatever, is coming up soon. I don't know why I can't think of it right now. Anyways, that announcement. God damn it. Anyways, let's continue. I'll think of it sooner or later, I think. Presidential husband, Jimmy Carter. Children, John William, James Earl, Donnell Jeffrey, and Amy Lynn. First Lady, 1977 through 1981. Astrological sign, Leo. Again! No! Oh, religion, Methodist, then Baptist. Samba, if I had, I wouldn't tell you. In response to a reporter's question as to whether she had ever committed adultery. Oh, maybe she did, maybe she didn't. No. She's keeping that close to her chest. In the fall of 1953, Rosalind Carter moved with her husband Jimmy to Plains, Georgia, to run his father's peanut farming business, and she was miserable about it, having spent the previous 7 years. Now I remember the word. Their wedding anniversary is coming up. I knew if I saw long and hard about it, and well, not long and hard, but saw about it, then did it, went and did something else, I would remember it for some odd reason. Their wedding anniversary is coming up, but she was still alive. Haha! Having spent the previous 7 years as a happy Navy wife, Rosalind looked at the move as a big step backward into the rural life she had chosen to leave behind. But it wasn't long before she changed her tune, throwing herself into the business that had brought them back to Plains and discovering that she had a knack for numbers and organization. It was the beginning of her growth as a professional woman, and the beginning of a partnership that would take both Rosalind and Jimmy to the White House. In fact, Plains was Rosalind's hometown. She lived an idyllic childhood with her parents and 3 siblings. A simple life centered on family, farming, and church. Her father, Edgar, who drove a bus and worked as a mechanic when he wasn't tilling the fields, died when Rosalind was only 13, leaving her to help her mother, Frances, Allie, to run the household. Though money was an issue, Allie took a series of odd jobs after her husband's death to pay the bills. Rosalind was a happy kid who studied hard, graduated valedictorian of her high school class, and then committed to Georgia Southwestern College in nearby Amercus. As First Lady, Rosalind Carter once posed for a snapshot with a Democratic Party organizer named John Wayne Gacy. Yes, the same John Wayne Gacy who murdered young men while dressed in a clown suit. Holy crap, I forgot about that! He met with the president while he was killing men and having sex with their bodies. He was just like, da, 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 da. Oh, hi, Rosalie. How are you? Why are you all hot, sweaty, and bothered and bloody? Okay. Bye. Bye, John. Bye, Rosie. It's like, what the hell? Why would you want to even associate with a serial killer? I know he wasn't yet well known as a serial killer back then. I know he wasn't known as a serial killer back then, but still, if you feel like something's off about a guy, don't associate with him. But I guess it's her life. It's whatever. I guess I don't know. Rosalind had known fellow Plains native Jimmy Carter for years, mostly as the big brother of her best friend, Ruth Carter. But her platonic feelings toward him changed during her sophomore year in college. She saw a particularly flattering photograph of Carter in an Annapolis uniform. She was smitten almost immediately, a feeling that only grew when she saw him again while he was home on leave in 1945. They began courting, and though she turned down his initial proposal, it didn't take her long to reconsider. By July of 1946, they were married. Plenty of military spouses have been driven crazy by the constant moving and unpredictable demands placed on them. But Rosalind Carter positively ate it up. She loved to travel from Norfolk to Honolulu, San Diego to New London, Connecticut, and took pleasure in the satisfaction of running an efficient household during her husband's postage overseas. By 1952, they had 3 sons, and the joys of family life more than compensated for growing responsibilities and Jimmy's occasional absences. Life was good. Until Jimmy's father blew a hole in the boat by dying in 1953, the Carter's peanut warehouse business in Plains was now up for grabs, and Jimmy insisted that he resign from the Navy to take it over. His horrified wife ranted and raved, but to no avail. Carter could not be moved on the subject. It was the first serious disagreement in their marriage, and Jimmy won. After moving back to Plains, Rosalind moped for months, pining for the romantic Navy days of yore. Then one day, Jimmy asked her to help out in the office while he went to visit some client. She agreed, and stayed. Since the move back to Georgia, Rosalind had spent her time cleaning, cooking, and teaching Sunday school, but balancing the books grabbed her like nothing else had. She started spending more and more time in the office until she was practically running it, whether her husband was away or not. The Carter soon expanded the warehousing facilities to take advantage of good peanut crops. The business boomed, and Rosalind started taking a shine to a new life after all. Things might have been going well for the Carters, but they still had a bee in their bonnet, mostly over the contentious social issues that were racking the South. Amidst a community full of outspoken advocates of segregation, the integrationist Carters stood out like a couple of very sore thumbs. Jimmy's concerns over issues of race finally drove him to run for the state senate in 1962. In addition to running the family business while he campaigned, Rosalind went door to door and did some pretty effective stumping herself. His victory in that year encouraged him to make a run for the governor's mansion in 1966. He lost to a staunch conservative and ardent segregationist. 4 years later, however, the Carters came back with a vengeance. In her husband's 1970 gubernatorial campaign, Rosalynn did much more than just see to the peanuts. She became, in effect, a co-candidate. She overcame her sickening aversion to public speaking to make numerous appearances and ended up shaking nearly as many hands as he did. By dividing the effort between the two of them, the Carters covered twice as much territory. It worked. Now, mother was fortunate to look after, Rosalynn still found the time to champion her causes as governor's wife. The Carters had developed a close partnership based on mutual respect and equality, and their activities in the sphere of politics reflected that. Mrs. Carter had become her husband's closest advisor. He listened attentively to his wife's opinions, even when they conflicted with his own, and if her argument turned out to be stronger than he adopted, the effectiveness of this seamless partnership became obvious during Carter's race for the presidency in 1976. Utilizing the tactics that had worked so well in the past, both Carters stumped on behalf of the candidate, but separately so as to reach more votes. Rosalynn knew his message, at least as well as he did, and proved extremely adept at giving interviews, working the telephones, tapping the influence of powerful supporters, and turning on the charm. Soon as the intrepid Southern Belle, with a seemingly endless reservoir, eventually was being called the Steel Magnolia by the press. The Carters celebrated the presidential victory by partying through all 7 inaugural events and then sitting down to business. Jimmy Carter had been elected as a Washington outsider, and he was determined to run the executive branch as an outsider. Damn the consequences. It wasn't long before he gave the nation a clear idea of how dismissive he was of convention. In 1977, Judge Munson to the administration, the president, his wife to Central and South America, not as a goodwill ambassador, but as an official representative on a State Department mission. It was unprecedented. Not only was the first lady an unelected person engaging in vital government business, she was a woman charged with discussing submissive state matters with powerful men. In a foreign culture dominated by machismo, added polishing in Spanish and absorbing all relevant State Department minutiae, Rosalynn took off on what many in Congress considered a fool's errand. It proved to be a major success. Welcomed by heads of state as a capable confidant of the American president, she strengthened ties in the country she visited and brought back invaluable information to her husband. Her influence hardly stopped there. She formed a task force to assess and improve federal programs for the elderly, helped organize a national child immunization campaign, and pushed the president to appoint more women to government posts than any of his predecessors. Her most cherished cause was mental health, and her efforts on behalf of this daunting issue were extraordinary. After Carter made her honorary chairperson of the President's Commission on Mental Health, she spearheaded an ambitious investigation into existing legislation and programs and oversaw an immense effort to improve upon them nationwide. She was dedicated, tireless, in every way, including the President's Cabinet meeting. It was Eleanor Roosevelt all over again, impressive and inspiring to many Americans, inappropriate and intrusive to just as many others. Rosalynn soldiered on in the face of criticism, relying on a religious faith, sense of mission, and long underwood. The day when which became necessary to the President's decision to turn down the White House, they were set during the oil crisis. Whatever. In 1979, the First Lady journeyed to Thailand to recontour the otherworldly suffering and starving Cambodian refugees, a horrific sight that inspired her to drive the United Nations to great relief efforts. But while she was away, a horror of a very different sort was occurring back in Washington. Specifically, her husband's pregnancy. Despite some successes, including a momentous pact between McCain Bang of Israel and Anwar Sadat of Egypt, Carter's administration succumbed to entrenched economic ills. Then, Iranian militias enraged at the Carter administration's refusal to turn over the exiled Shah of Iran, took the American embassy staff hostage, creating a crisis that proved too much for the president to handle. Not that he didn't try, of course. In fact, his wife conducted most of his 1980 re-election campaign for him while he squatted away in the White House searching for a way to release the captured Americans. Rosalind performed as remarkably as always, but it wasn't enough. Carter got slaughtered at the polls by Ronald Reagan. Yeah, I mean, like, he didn't really know how to handle. He should have gone back to his military thinking and military ways to understand how he should do what he did. But he did not. So he did what he did, and what he did, he did. So yeah. Like Betty Ford before her, Rosalind was indignant at the loss. She would later claim that her fellow Americans made a mistake by not voting for her husband in 1980. When someone noticed how well President Carter was taking the loss on election night, the first lady quit, "I'm big enough for both of us." Indeed, she had more than Reagan's landslide victory to be bitter about. The Carters were walking out of the White House and straight into some serious debt, not least because of the neglect suffered by the peanut business in planes during the presidency. Best-selling writing projects by both Jimmy and Rosalind would help elevate the situation in time, and they eventually found the security and money to build the Carter Center, a sort of souped-up presidential library that has continued to serve as a base for the Carter's ongoing efforts at international peace and humanitarian aid. She and her husband have even dedicated a great deal of time and effort to such projects as Habitat for Humanity, a program dedicated to building homes for the needy. As always, the partnership continued, with one notable exception. During the writing of their only joint book titled Everything to Gain, Making the Most of the Rest of Your Life, the Carters consistently differed over writing style. In fact, the next disagreements got so bad that they ended up barely communicating for weeks at a stretch. Hey, every marriage has limits. Even the Carters. I mean, not all couples always agree. I mean, like, take me and my boyfriend, for example. We always have disagreements over everything because we can't communicate well, but because he had ADHD, which basically means that he has ADHD and autism, while I just have autism. But ADHD with a regular autistic person, and you're in for one hell of a ride. Believe me. Ugh. Believe me. But I'm just saying, every couple has their fights. Just like with the Carters. Okay? So, please rate, subscribe, and comment down below. And if you're on YouTube, please ring that bell notification so you can know when I upload, because I don't always upload so consistently. And if you're on TikTok, please like and follow my videos. And let's get to 50 subscribers on YouTube and 50 followers on TikTok. Because once we get to that, then I'm going to do something amazing, okay? So let's do that, please. I know we can do it. Come on, come on, come on. And please pay for something on either my eBay and or my card. Okay, bye.